Hey, Gar, can I just make a quick announcement before we tape?
Absolutely.
Is that okay? Would you
Yeah,
mind?
not at all.
Um, Today, I got a little email from Missy about the solar scope. And she said, I wanted to thank
Hmm.
the group for the telescope that you donated in Lou's honor. I was so touched to receive the signed letter and the pictures in the mail. I know that Lou would have been so excited too. Thank you for organizing, and please send my thanks to the rest of the group as well. Clear skies, Missy. So,
Nice.
yeah, so thanks to everyone who helped out, and there were a lot of you who gave advice, and anyone who, made a donation. Thank you very, very much. And she really, really did appreciate it. She was going to try to come on tonight and stop by to tell us in person, but I think she was a little tied up. So many, many thanks for that. So thanks.
That's great. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
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 And heads up, we're now live on YouTube. I'll put the link in the chat if anyone wants to share it.
Okay. So let's see what. Okay, so you can see that. So before we get to our feature presentation, which is um, about Prasad's spectroheliograph, um, any new attendees, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself and just giving just a real brief summary or a quick overview of your background, what kind of interests you have in this, and possible equipment. I know, Charlie, you mentioned this was a new meeting for you. There are a number of new names here.
Yeah, it looks like I jumped the gun here, huh?
Leonard, no, 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 not at all. Yeah, that's what I said. It's a little bit backwards in that sense, or other than doing it twice. So it sounded like you have some familiarity already with astrophotography. You mentioned PixInsight. You mentioned a few other things. So maybe just give a little bit about your background.
Yeah, no, I found astrophotography during COVID actually. So I've been doing it roughly 4 years, I guess. Um, Started and tried to do some planetary stuff. I do have an HD8, but I'm still trying to tweak things. It's been a miserable experience, to be honest. So yeah, no, I use PixInsight. I have an AM5. I do one-shot color. I just did get the new Optilong L Synergy, so I can add some extra data to my shots. And still really trying to learn PixInsight. That's probably my biggest hurdle. I can collect data all day long, all night long. Processing the data is my kryptonite. So as probably as everyone else on this call. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Well, welcome to the meeting. Have you looked at some of the recordings from the previous?
I haven't gotten that far yet into this, no. But the outreach, I love the outreach and I love to meet new people. I do attend some other meetings. There's some YouTube guys that I follow, and they do some live events, and I attend, and I've won some image of the week contests and stuff. But no, I love the outreach aspect and meeting new people who share the same passion that I do, and that's why I'm here, and to learn more from people. That's what I think this hobby is all about, is learning. You can never stop learning.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. If you want to check out the September recording
Okay.
from 2 months ago. There was I did a short kind of tutorial on Pixin site processing of the small globular cluster M71.
Okay.
It has workflow in it. It has some, like hands-on actually doing the
Mhm.
processing. So that maybe something like that would help. And there have been other ones too in the past where people have shown some processing examples. But you're not alone in terms of the Pixin site
Yeah.
curve.
I
We've
know
all
it's.
struggled with it and
Yep.
at some level continue to, regardless of whether it's Searle or Pixin site or whatever it is. There's a learning curve to all of them.
Yeah, just when I think I have things under control, it's like I gather some new data on a new object and then I try to process it and it just looks like absolute garbage. And I'm like, it's very gut wrenching.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's tough.
And there's a note here. Well, very, very nice to meet you and thanks for attending. Hopefully we'll get to see more of you and get to meet you in person at
Yeah,
one of
no,
the meetings
hopefully the next
or
start
Star
party I'll
Party.
be able to attend and come up. I had a question about that too. Can we bring some equipment up? I know it's only for a few hours, but if we bring some equipment up and I know a lot of it's visual, I think, but I don't know if anybody brings some Astro stuff. My setup's pretty simple and takes all of about 10 minutes to set up, and it'd be nice to show people and to experience what it is with Astro.
Yeah, you mean in terms of the Star Parties or just?
Yes. Yep. Star party.
Yeah, people bring equipment.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's real
All right.
common.
Okay. I was just curious. I didn't know how all that worked. The other thing, like posting, like pictures. There's how do you post? I don't have the option to post anything, really in the forums. Is that like special access? Do you have to email stuff to somebody? Like, how does that work?
No. If you're a member of the
I
club,
am, yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
So you would just log on to the website, sign into the website, then you can do a post in the astrophotography forum.
Okay. There was some images stuff that I was under photos, I believe. I have
Yeah,
no.
you can create an album and put your photos up there.
All right.
Uh,
Maybe I am just blind because I
yeah.
do not see an option for any of that.
If
Okay, well,
you
we can come back to that. I want to
Yeah, that's fine. I don't want to side rail the meeting, but I
yeah,
just had
I want to
some
keep because
questions.
we have Prasad's presentation tonight that I want to get to. There's also a note from Eric saying that he doesn't have a mic, but he's new to the meeting and he's taking an astronomy class at Delaware County Community College. So he's does plan on purchasing a telescope. So if anyone has suggestions, that would be great. So we can get back to that after Prasad's talk, Eric, if you're able to stay on the meeting.
Yeah, and I gave him a little response in there too.
Okay, I'm guessing it sounds oh, I see. Oh, got it. Okay. Cool. Anyone else? Anyone else new? So yeah, Leonard introduced himself a little bit before, but if you want to just give another quick intro, Leonard.
Well, just to let Eric know, I can show you a picture of Saturn. That was the first thing that I tried to do with the camera I have. It looked more like a yellow blob. So, I'm learning too. And I've, as I mentioned earlier, I got a lot of help from Tom Nolasco, some one-on-one, and I started in astronomy probably 30 years ago, but then I ran into the what I don't want to call it a problem, but you guys are all familiar with it. It's called young family, and you have obligations and things like that. And my first star party I went to was over in Ottsville. I think it was Stella. Was that Stella?
Stella
I
Della.
can't remember. It was Stella Della.
Yeah,
Stella Della, yeah.
Was that the one that was in Ott?
Yeah,
Was that in
Ottsville.
Ottsville?
Yep.
Yeah, and all I remember is going, and I had put an order in for a Coulter 10-inch Dob. And after I got to the start party and saw guys with ladders to climb up, I got aperture fever and called them up, and they were very nice. They said, "Yeah, we'll slot you right in where you're at. We can send the 13-inch out to replace that." So I actually was that first thing I bought. But then, the kids are getting at that age and we're doing other stuff, and I had to put things on the back burner. You can probably see from my name on there, it has a call sign behind it. Also, I'm a ham operator, so I attend Zoom meetings for that as well. Yeah, I'm really just a really rank beginner here. This astrophotography stuff really it's very interesting, and I can tell I have an awful lot to learn.
You have company.
So, and the reason I'm chuckling to myself, what was that?
I said you have company. Me too. Awful lot to learn.
I didn't hear you.
I said you have company. I have a lot to learn too.
I'm sure. So actually, yeah, that actually makes me feel more comfortable with the group, hearing some of the conversations that feel like I'm quite so far off the kilter here, that there's other guys that are doing the same thing that I'm trying to do, is to try to learn new things. So anyway, that's all I got. So back over to whoever takes over.
Fantastic. And then let's see, I guess that's about it. There looks like there's some, yeah, I recognize those names. Okay, anyone else before we move on to Prasad?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I posted the artifact picture I showed you guys, and I did both the first and the last sub. I put them on the DVAA AP web forum
Okay,
just now.
we'll take a look later on.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have another new person here tonight, Prasad Agrahar, and Prasad is going to be presenting. Let me just do this. His spectroheliograph. So Prasad, I guess this is your second iteration, this picture. And so
Yes.
Prasad has built two of these, and he's going to be showing, explaining to us how he got involved in this, what was involved with making this, and then also how he's getting these fantastic images out of this instrument. So without further ado, Prasad, if you want to take the stage, we're all anxious to hear about your workings with the spectroheliograph.
All right. All right. Do you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, great. Thank you. All right. And do you see the picture?
Not yet.
Oh, I thought I'm sharing.
I saw the request to share, but I
Yeah.
clicked yes. But at the bottom middle of your screen, there should be a little green up arrow that says
Green
share, or you can push Alt
arrow.
S.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you so much for doing this, Prasad.
Entire
I know
screen.
what goes into putting presentations together, as most of us do. And I got a kick out of your email the other day to me saying it was done, yet every time you think about it, you think of something else, or you think of a change to make. And you're not alone in that. So thank you for putting this together.
So we see your web browser right now. It says Zoom.
There. Yeah. What do I do next? All right. Okay.
There you go.
That's okay. All right. Slideshow. Start from the first slide. Okay.
Perfect.
Excellent.
All right. Observing the day sky. By the way, that picture was taken by me. That was probably a couple of years ago. And maybe 2000 years after humans started observing the sun. And that was when the word, I believe, the astrology began. That's a pseudoscience. Then came 1610 or so when Galileo started looking at the sun, and I believe he lost his eyesight, or at least partially. I don't know. Anyway, so a disclaimer, I've done some research, and I may not, whatever I'm presenting here about the history, may not be very accurate. Forgive me if it is so. All right. Kepler said sometime, saying that the sun rotated on its axis. And also, then that was the time when they found that the sun followed an 11-year solar cycle. Annie and Edward Maunder detected or called it Maunder minimum when there were no sunspots. And sometime in 1800, Herschel detected the IR, infrared radiation, and also later Fraunhofer identified the Fraunhofer lines of the solar spectrum. And then came Carrington, who said the sunspots migrated towards solar equator, and there came the detection of the so-called butterfly diagram, and we all know about it. Now comes the spectroheliograph. It's not new. In 1890, George Hale, who was an undergrad, and he invented the spectroheliograph. Imagine, as an undergraduate, he did that. So it's an instrument to image the sun at single wavelength of light. Okay, you can pick whichever wavelength you want, and that is what you will get. And that's when the Fraunhofer lines come back here. All the Fraunhofer lines, or most of the Fraunhofer lines, are dark lines because they are absorption lines. But there are a few which are the emission lines. And we will talk about that a little later. Sometime in 1929, George Hale produced this image, and this was shared with me by John Palladini. He is one of my friends. He is one of the guys who helped me to get my spectroheliograph, the first one, working. I was struggling with it. I'll come to that a little later. So the sun and me, my relationship with the sun has been going on since 1998. When I bought my first Thousand Oak solar filter, the glass variety, I still have it. It works. It's almost 30 years old and still works, no problems. 2017, I bought the Lunt, the solar 60 millimeter hydrogen alpha telescope. And sometime in, I think it was in 22 or so, our great late Lou, he inspired me to buy my first serious camera, 224. And that got me going into solar imaging. And I've done some planetary, but not really serious. I've been in solar all the way. So I moved on to a 178 monochrome imager, and then I added the Herschel wedge, couple of solar film filters, including one 3.8. It is meant only for imaging and strictly not for visual. And the K-line filter, continuum filter, and so on. Then I added a double stack unit to my LUNT. Here are some images which I produced with my LUNT. And this is not LUNT, this is a continuum image. And I was quite a bit surprised that I was able to catch these this much of detail. And I was really surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, the granules came up really nice in that.
Yeah, exactly. And I was not sure they were granules. And then someone famous on the cloudy nights told me that they are granules.
Prasad, if you go back to that previous picture, you said that was taken using a continuum filter. What is that used on the LUNT, or is that used on a regular? I'm not really familiar with what that is.
No, regular 80 millimeter Apple.
So do you use that in conjunction with the white light solar filter, or you use it in
Yes.
place of the white light solar filter?
No, white solar filter, that OD 3.8 or ND 3.8, whatever you call it, OD, ND.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and ND, yeah, for the neutral density filter.
Neutral density 3.8.
So when you're saying continuum, you mean like broadband?
It's
No,
white.
but there is a filter called a continuum filter. You get it from Bader. It's a greenish colored filter. Whatever you see visually, you get to see it in everything in green.
Okay.
It's got 7 micrometer or 7 micron bandwidth.
I see.
Yep.
Hmm.
So
Thank
okay, I'll move on. I wanted more sun. I was happy with what I was getting with the white light or with the hydrogen alpha, but I still wanted something more. Next was calcium K. Calcium K module from LUNT costs more than $1,000. I was not ready for that. So I went in for a lower cost option of calcium K filter from Bader Planetarium. So, and this is the picture I got. This is the image I got with that. And I was not happy at all. So what do I do next? So then I looked at what people do. So Thousand Oaks or Bader white light filter, which I'm doing, which I already have. And it is limited to white light and a very broad bandwidth. Or hydrogen alpha like a LUNT, I have that. And the limitations are high cost and single wavelength. Single stage at alone gives about 0.6 angstrom units bandwidth, which is good for probes. Double stacking will give a slightly narrower, maybe 0.4 angstrom, but a double stack unit costs about for 60 millimeter costs almost $1,600 or $1,700. So I went in for a slightly smaller size. Instead of 60, I went in for a 50 millimeter, which was about a little over $1,000 or $1,200. I don't remember. So yeah, they were great. I just showed you some images which I got using that. Then what do I do if I want to go look for calcium K? My playing with the calcium K, the low-cost filter was not satisfactory. So what do I do? Go for an expensive one? They are. Daystar's helium D3 costs about 1,700 or 1,800. Calcium K costs almost 1,800. 18,000, sorry, $18,000. I can't afford, I don't have that kind of money. So then I thought of a spectroheliograph. Why? Narrower bandwidth compared to Etalon. It gives the whole disk and good resolution. Several wavelengths I can view almost at almost any wavelength of my choice. Relatively low cost. No, it's not going to be $18,000 for each wavelength. It's going to be much less than that. So what all wavelengths can I watch? Almost you name it, I can watch it, other than A and B, because they are not from the sun, they are the atmosphere. So Fraunhofer apparently didn't know or didn't realize that these A and B were coming from the Earth's atmosphere. So C is the most important line, which is the hydrogen alpha. D1 and D2 are the sodium, and then goes at the far end, near the UV, you get this calcium K and calcium H, or H and K. So entire solar spectrum becomes available, and no extra investment other than what I spend for the first time. That I wish it was really like that. Okay, then the only catch was it has, to me, that's my experience, a very steep learning curve. It took me a long time. Probably some of it was my mistakes. So, well, it's nothing new. It's been around for 125 years. Now I'm going to share with you 3 slides, which I've taken them from a presentation made by Dr. Douglas Smith of London. He has been my guide in this second spectroheliograph project. I also use his software to generate or reconstruct the solar images from my captures. So he talks a little bit about the history. So I thought that's the reason I'm copying these slides from him. So with due credit given to him, so I shouldn't get into any trouble. Has been around for a long time. And in fact, it happened even before Etalon was created or invented. And okay, it uses the basic design by George Hale is recognized. That's the one I'm going to talk about a little later. So it uses a telescope to focus the image of the sun on a slit. And then I have a collimating lens that projects the image on a dispersive element such as a diffraction grating. The reflected light from the grating goes into the camera, which has again as a lens. So he did it with the film, and we do it with CMOS sensors. So the image size I get roughly about 2 to 3 gigabytes for each scan. And I will talk about it. This, I don't know, do you see my mouse moving?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so this is the spectroheliograph that was made by George Hale. And if you see here, these little tubes, they are the hydraulic tubes. And somewhere here, I believe, is the slit, the first slit. The light from the telescope is focused on this slit, and it goes in here and falls on a grating and gets reflected. And here, this is where the photographic film was located. That's where we have the second slit. He used 2 slits. The 2 slits move in a synchronized manner. That is why you have these hydraulics. So he scans, the telescope is pointing at the sun. He scans the sun from one edge to the other edge. So one limb to the other opposite limb. And by moving the slit. And the second slit moves in synchronization with the first slit. And so the image gets recorded on the film that is here, film or a paper, whatever. So that's how he did it. And these are some of the images which they produce. These are, I believe, these are from the French. Oh no, these are from Mount Wilson. Okay, this is from by the French.
Wow. That's amazing. They were able to do that with film, just exposing one line at a time, like you're doing digitally. That's amazing.
We are doing it digitally. It's automated for me. Yeah.
Some of the early film astrophotographers are just absolutely amazing. I couldn't even imagine the patience needed to do that.
Wow.
Yeah. There is one gentleman, I had prepared this slide several days ago, but then I realized today, Ken Harrison, he has a web page where he talks about spectroheliograph sometime in 2006. So that's one of the new findings I found. Well, even I'm just describing here a brief history of spectroheliograph in 21st century. 2024, you might have seen the spectroheliograph article by Richard Schrantz in September 2025 Sky and Telescope. And 2024, Min from Vietnam has been commercially selling spectroheliographs in the market. That's the only spectroheliograph commercially sold in the market today. It's pretty good, I'm told. I have not seen one. I use his slit. How does a spectroheliograph work? I was just mentioning it has a slit. The sun is focused on the slit, so the slit can really get heated. Now, what the sunlight that comes out of the slit is focused this is the collimator lens. It is at the focal point from the slit, and the light goes out parallel and falls on the grating. And the grating will be at different angles as required by the wavelength that we need. And this is just a camera. We have the detector or the CCD, CMOS, whatever, and we have a lens that focuses. So that's about how a spectroheliograph is. Now, Ken Harrison, which I had just mentioned about the great guy, he's an Aussie. He is somewhere in the Australian. He's in a small village, so he gets pretty good. No light pollution, nothing. So he was the one who has been playing with this spectroheliograph for at least a couple of decades, I believe. Only today I came to know about it. But I've been using his spreadsheet for some time. So this helped me to design or pick what I wanted to use in my spectroheliograph. So the lenses, the grating, and so on. So this gives almost how a spectroheliograph will behave and which month, depending on this thing, because the solar diameter varies. So it takes care of all that. And it gives a good idea of how what I can expect from my spectroheliograph. So, all right, here is the first component, the slit. This slit is made of quartz. And the slit is here. It's 8 micrometer or 8 microns wide, 13 millimeter tall, and it's covered by aluminum at the top. So the aluminum gives the slit some level of protection from the sun's heat. And it kind of adds, I believe it kind of works as a heat sink. Quartz by itself is capable of withstanding good temperature, but I believe it can go bad if I don't have this aluminum. So that's my first component, which I got from Doug Smith. And this is what can happen. You see here, this is in my first, I will show that one later. And this is a 3D printed variety. So once I removed I had to use an attenuator for the light. And I was told that, I don't need, with this slit, I don't need the attenuator. So I removed that. Very next day, I was curious. I wanted to see if there is any damage. And yes, there was. So, so I replaced this little slit holder with made out of aluminum. I machined it, and I have a little machine shop. So I made a new aluminum holder for the slit, and it's been good since then. So the second component which I have in my SHG is this 50 millimeter square grating. It cost me almost $400. It's a 2,400 lines per millimeter, visible reflective holographic grating. The one word of caution about these gratings: never touch the grating by hand. I'm talking about the surface, the main grating surface. Even an accidental touch can kill it. The third item are the two lenses. I got them from eBay. I think I paid around $50 for two. So these are the Super Takumar Pentax screw mount lenses. Screw mount are not any longer used in any camera. So these are available, sold in the market, quite cheap. And they're pretty good. So both lenses are 135 millimeter f3.5. Both arrived in super great condition. And when I say screw mount, they are size T2. The only catch is the thread pitch is 1 millimeter, but whereas we use 0.75. So there is a adapter available. So I bought 2 of them. So this little thing here is the adapter. So I can now screw on a regular T2 mount adapter. All right. I made drawings. I went into in great detail. I used a 6 millimeter thick acrylic, black, dark acrylic sheet cut to this size, and the 2 lenses are mounted at 30-degree angle. This represents here the grating. The light from the telescope will fall on the grating and get reflected here onto this. So this 30-degree angle has a relevance, and it is one of the entries I had to use in the spreadsheet which I had just shown. So a 3D view of the same spectroheliograph, and the whole grating sits inside a light tight chamber. So to seal the chamber from any light, I used here something I called friction grip. So when I do the focusing of the lens, which I do by turning, go back. See, I turn these ring. So when I turn this ring, the front end of the lens goes forward or backward, like what it does in most camera lenses. So what I have done here is this is a 3D printed light barrier with a small gap, and the gap is sealed using a felt tape. So I was able to manage fairly good amount of light tightness. So it's enclosed inside a 3D printed box, and I call the grating movement unit as a turret. It has a steel shaft. I'll show you here. This is the light tight chamber. This and this. This and this are the 2 friction grips or friction clamps. And this is the collimator lens. This is where the slit sits. So this end goes into the telescope. And here I have a UV IR filter. That's more to protect the slit. So the light from the telescope passes through the slit, and then the collimator lens falls on the grating, gets reflected, passes through the camera lens, and goes into the camera. That's the way it works. Okay, now I have this picture is with the cover removed. Here is the view with the cover installed. If you see here, this is what I call the 0 order point. At this point, the grating works like a mirror, and this is used for certain adjustment. I'll come to that. And this is the little pointer. This is the scale, not very accurate, but just gives a rough idea. The 2 arrows shows that the direction of how the light goes into, enters, and gets out. The slit. The slit has to be at 90 degrees to the base. And you can see here it is not. So I kept it because if it is there, it's going to probably get hidden. So I kept it intentionally just to show it for this picture. So it has three important adjustments. First is a very simple one, the camera and the lens. Just to make sure that the camera and the lens are in focus, they are focusable. I can point the camera with the lens attached to at anything like a far away, a distant object, or anything such as maybe a tree or something, and then focus it and make sure that I have enough movement of the camera lens to both sides of the focus. So that's done. The next comes is the difficult one. The second one is the collimator. Collimator has to be adjusted by keeping it at the zero order, which I just mentioned. So zero order when the grating works as a mirror. So I will show here a video. I'm going to struggle a bit here. All right. Collimator focusing. Are you able to see this?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. Okay. So I have moved the knob or a grating around a little until I got this, and now I am adjusting the collimator lens. So it's kind of coming to focus. Still not the perfect point, but I'm okay. That's it. Go back. Good. So I brought it to focus. And now what I do is reduce the exposure down to bare minimum where I can just see the horizontal line. You can see it is still not perfectly horizontal. So for that, I turn either the lens or the camera or the slit. So I use this circle and crosshair function of sharp cap. So you can see the line here is as parallel as I can manage. That's what I want to get. And once I get this, I can almost lock the collimator lens and I don't have to touch it after this. Now, I'm showing here this is the pointer, and the pointer, I bring it to without touching the knob, I loosen the pointer and bring it to that 0 point and tighten it there. And so then with that, I'm done with my collimator setting. Now at this point, what I can do is I can bring this knob, turn the knob, and bring the pointer to any of the spectrum area.
Wild.
So, and it's almost at this point, the spectroheliograph is ready. And I have now mounted it on my mount. And by the way, this is this is my new mount. I made it. It's a one of those new toys I built. Okay, I should not forget this UV IR filter, and Dr. Doug Smith advised me that I must have that, or else his slit is not going to live for a long time. So I have it now on my harmonic drive on this particular situation, and it is now pointing at the sun. When I point it at the sun, I might get an image like this. The camera is in focus. You can see that it's in line. This, by the way, is a hydrogen alpha, the easiest spectral line to catch for a beginner. So I had no difficulty in locating this line. Everything else took a little time for me to understand. So I have focused the camera, but you see the lines are in focus, but the edges are not. That's because the telescope is not in focus. When I adjust the telescope focus, you can see the edge, both the edges become sharp. So that is what I want to get. So telescope is in focus, not perfect, and the camera is in focus. Again, not necessarily perfect. By the way, these pictures I took on a day when there were too many clouds. That is why you see all these lines, bands. So next thing I do is turn the camera, rotate the camera until I get the entire thing, the edges vertical. At this point, you might notice that the hydrogen alpha line is still not perfectly horizontal. That's because the slit is still not perfectly aligned. So I will align the slit if I want to, but it's not so critical. So when I turn the knob, I will go through different parts of the spectrum. Hydrogen alpha, the sodium D1 and D2, calcium H and calcium K. And by the way, this line in spectroheliograph, people call it the smile, upside down smile. But yeah, that's because in spectroheliograph, we prefer to have down is the red side, and this is where the ultraviolet side, or the higher frequencies. So it can be the other way by turning the camera 180 degrees. That is also, some people do that, but I prefer it this way. All right, so now I pick roughly the area around the spectroheliograph, this hydrogen alpha line as the ROI, and bring it to this. So I have the sun, it's in the middle of the sun. This is my hydrogen alpha line. There are two edges of the sun. And now I'm going to do some more refinement of my focus. I call it the shark teeth and the scintillation line. And again, I'm going to stop the presentation and go to my videos. So in this particular, again, the ROI area I'm just showing because earlier I was not too sure. I'm using it 2400 pixels wide by 120 tall. And I'll come to that a bit later. Now, final focusing is, I use this histogram stretch by clicking this and maybe this. And if you see here, this is what I call the shark teeth. So you literally see this. Another view. Yeah, when I see the maximum of these scintillation lines, I stop. That is the best focus. So I have it, everything is in focus. I got the scintillation lines. So now what I do now is scan. I move the, okay, I do the scanning either in, or you can do the scanning in RA axis or a declination axis. I prefer the right ascension for my own reasons. Doug suggests that I should do it in declination, but somehow I find the RA axis as more convenient. Scanning is done at speeds like 8 times, 16 times, or 20 times. With the on step, I'm using 20x. Now, the speed of scan and the frames per second have a relation. For 8x, I use about 120 frames per second. And when I switch to 20x, I have to go to almost 300 frames per second. So I scan from one edge of the sun to the other edge and stop that, capture that. So what I do is, unlimited capture setting, start capture, press the button button either to the west or to the east button on the hand controller and move it from one edge to the other edge, and the sun will appear and disappear. I will show that. So then I repeat the same scan in the opposite direction. So with that, I capture several videos. I'm going to stop again. Okay, now you see these vertical lines appearing. They are the sunspots. Sunspots don't have any affinity, or they don't belong to a particular wavelength or anything. They're all everywhere. So they will be there. And another thing which I wanted to show here, if you see here those little things that you see, that's a particular solar flare. I didn't know at that time. It was the first time. It's very rare you catch these flares like this. So there's a new word, transversalium. Transversalium is the word used by spectroheliograph users. I talked about the slit. The slit is never very perfect. The slit may have some sharp edges or whatever at the micron level, and those sharp edges will create some lines in in whatever we saw, that little video. That video, those lines will remain there all the way from one edge to other edge, and they will not. So they will create a noise pattern in the final image. So it's one of the hated items. So it is removed by software. So now comes the next thing is the processing of the videos. There are 3 videos. First one is by the French, Valerie. Valerie produced the one video called INDI. And Doug Smith and his son have the second video processing software called SHG Main. I use that. Then there is also a third one called JSOLX, also by a French guy. He is a software specialist. So I'm going to process a video in using Doug's software. It's now generating the final image. You see here, it was at an angle, which basically means that, I did not have the spectroheliograph at the proper angle. It is at 6 degrees from what it should have been. And also the Y by X ratio is not very good. So I need to make some corrections. All right, so I made a correction to the setting. And now it's almost a circle. So the angle, the unrotation angle is now less than a degree. And the Y to X ratio is almost close to unity. So that is a better situation. Waiting for it to pop up. Okay, there you go. So I've done, that is the right setting, and I got it all right. And now I'm good to produce more scans. I just did that.
What did you?
I'm sorry? Okay, another new term, to me at least, contrast limited adaptive histogram equalization. That's the image here. And this is the image of artificial eclipse, where you can see the little proms and all here. You don't get, actually, most of the time you get this white shade here, so I don't know how to eliminate that. So Lucky Imaging, the spectroheliograph version. produce a lot of scans and use them all and use software to analyze, pick the best, probably. May not be few hundred, at least maybe in this case, I think I have about 40 or 50. So I picked the best. So there are a few points that I have learned. Focusing is the most important thing. Okay, it's nothing new. There are 3 focusings, and I have to master each of them. Collimator focusing needs great attention and not touched once it is done. Camera focus and the telescope focus are the next ones. Telescope focus, I look for the shark teeth and the scintillation lines, the dancing lines, and I use histogram stretch for maximizing it. Motorized focuser on the telescope is a must. I was trying to do it manually in the beginning, and until then I added a small little motor and made my own little DC motor controlled focuser. And the spectroheliograph is extremely sensitive to seeing conditions. So there was one particular day I had probably the best images, and I had a 500 gigabyte drive hard disk on my laptop, and it was getting filled. It was getting full almost every day. So I accidentally deleted the best images I had, and the files, everything, I just deleted. So never got that good conditions ever. Early mornings are always better. I do it as early as possible, as soon as the sun gets above the treetop level. This is by Doug Smith. His from this, one of his copy pasted this picture from one of his presentations. So he uses foam board, and unlike me, I use 3D printed parts. And you can see it is in the declination angle. In my case, I put it on right ascension. So that was, so far, it was all about my second DIY spectroheliograph. And now comes the first one and my struggles. I started sometime in 2023, got the parts from Cheliac instruments in France. I tried 3D printing, that didn't go too well. So I got the kit from France. Put my Solex put together, got it, but it didn't work the way I expected. It had to spend a lot of time, and most of it was learning curve, but there were some issues. The collimator tube was too loose. Bad quality, I would call it, and because I was able to make a better tube with my 3D printer, and that kind of eliminated the problem. Second issue I had was with my Explore Scientific Exos 2 GT go-to mount. It worked. It seemed to work good, but it didn't. It wasn't really. At 1x, or at the speed, it was good. But when I tried doing the scan at 8x, I was getting jagged edges. So I sought help from 2 friends, one in New York and another one Arizona. So finally, I switched over to my Vixen GP mount, which I've shown in one of the images. And now I'm using my harmonic drive hyper mount. And this is my Solex, the first spectroheliograph. Looks beautiful, 3D printed and colorful. And it uses two 25 millimeter diameter doublets, plain lenses, and which has a 80 millimeter focal length for the collimator and 125 millimeter focal length for the camera lens. You know, in my case, my DIY SHG, I am using 100, 135, 135, 135, both. Original Solex recommends that I use a 32 millimeter f4 finder scope as the telescope. I tried using a 30 millimeter. It was a disaster, mainly because the lens of that finder scope was in poor collimation. So then I switched over to a 60 millimeter scope and it worked better. Original one had a 10 micron width slit, but only about 4.5 millimeter height. And it needed that ND9 neutral density moon filter to attenuate the incident sunlight to safeguard the slit. Then that was where I switched over to a 7 micron, 7 millimeter quad slit. And that is where I got into the trouble of damage to the inside part of the slit holder. And I was also using a variable density filter, ND2 to ND400. It is a 82 millimeter. I was using it with my 80 millimeter apochromat. Solex uses 25 millimeter square grating with same 2,400 lines per millimeter, and it weighs only about 700 grams without the camera. Just about half the weight of my SHG. I mentioned this had quality issues, and it was a struggle. And few last points. Spectroheliograph is hard disk hungry. I had 500 gigabytes and I replaced it with 4 terabytes now. Now I don't have that hard disk problem. I still have to delete maybe after 2 days or 3 days, third day, maybe I have to delete and create a free up space. It takes about 400 to 600 gigabytes for me each session, and some more after that for post-processing. And spectroheliograph does not exactly follow lucky imaging, though it is possible to make a series of scans and then pick the best few and use auto stacker to stack. Not exactly lucky imaging, but sure helps and improves the noise, reduces the noise and improves images. Here are some images that I got from my spectroheliograph. This is hydrogen beta, calcium H. This is my new thing, which is helium D3. And you see here these lines, those are those transversalium. Helium line is seen here. This is the sodium D2, and this is the helium, and it's not easy to see. And I see when I have brought the sun to the edge, here I'm able to see it a little, but in the normal way, I don't get to see at all. And I've come to one moment. I just wanted to show. Yeah, okay. Look here. Look here. Look here. Look that. That's the helium line. It's impossible to see otherwise. That's
You had mentioned that the helium is that I think in one of your emails you said that that was an emission line
correct.
rather than an absorption line.
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to show in this. Sorry.
And that's why it looks lighter than the other.
Yeah, no,
the
you can see
absorption
this is the regular absorption line, so it is dark. And this line is an emission line, and it in the normal when it is bright, you see you cannot see it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it gets
Like
masked
here, you
by the
cannot
other-
see it here. When
Yeah.
it is fully bright, you cannot see.
But how do you focus? How do you tune it to that?
Okay, what I do is this. What I was go back to that. Okay, so I make sure I pick a ROI. How do I? The ROI here. I'm sorry. Okay, somewhere here in this area, I catch the ROI and process it based on this and subtract this distance.
Oh,
It is done. Again, the software takes care of it. But the problem with this is the region of interest becomes too tall. So at that height, I don't get my normal speed of 20x or something. I cannot do that because my frames per second falls down. The best I can get at that time is maybe about 120.
I see.
Yeah, so I do it at 8x.
Yeah, so you have to play the frame rate against
Correct.
the region of interest.
Yeah, but playing the frame rate is extremely important. If I don't do it, if I don't get the right speed, I would get an instead of a circle, I will get an oval. Of course, the software still corrects it. But then, it's not the best thing.
Yeah.
There may be, the correction, when it is correcting, there may be errors and I may not get everything that I want to get.
Yeah, it makes sense. You mentioned like in terms of the high frame rate, like if you sweep at 20x and you
At
are
20x,
at a high frame rate, like compared to the 8x sweep, does that help you? Like, does going from 8x to say 20x sweep, does that help you like fight turbulence, or does it help fight the seeing somewhat the faster you go, or are they unrelated?
yeah, I get more. I am able to within the short period or within the same period, I can get more scans. And the sun is there is always some change. Each scan takes maybe about 15 seconds or so. I'm counting the time that I need for pressing the buttons and whatever.
Okay.
And also SharpCap has sometimes there is a short delay when it is trying to save something. So not always, but sometimes. So when I have clicked the stop scan or stop capture, and my I cannot still start the next capture because it is still trying to save in the buffer, from the buffer.
Okay.
So when I do it, it takes about 15 seconds at 20x and a longer at 8x.
Let's see. And how many scans do you have to do to get one image?
Oh no, one scan is going to give me one image.
Okay, so it is an image per scan when it reconstructs it.
Correct.
I see.
Let me show you. Let me show the image that I have got, what we just got. That's the image we just, when I ran the software and processed it, this is the image I just created, or the software created.
It's amazing.
A quick question. Are you saying you get a different image every time? Is it because of storms or flares or what is the reason?
Yeah, like what happens when you look through a hydrogen alpha scope. When you see after 10 minutes, it's not the same. The view is different.
Okay.
Prasad, have you worked with?
I have one other thing to say, or from my experience. I got my hydrogen alpha scope in 2017. It was, for me, it was a complete disappointment at that time. I was not feeling good at all because I even called Lunt and talked to them. They said, no, nothing is wrong with your scope. Everything is fine. I said, no, I don't get to see anything until I got my camera, the 224. I started, when I used that, I was able to capture with the exposures running in microseconds. And when I look at each frame, I was able to see, I'm able to see so much more detail because there is so much of the seeing distortion created by seeing. My eyes were, no, what I saw it was a blurry thing which I was able to see. But the individual frame captured by my 224, the color imager, were so much better, so much clearer.
Hmm. It's
Yes.
interesting.
So what I have been doing is I capture maybe about 40 or 60, 64, sometimes 64 images, 32 on one in one direction and another 32 in the opposite direction, and run them through. I first physically look at each one, and I try to delete whatever I don't like, and then run it through auto stacker and use IMPPG and sharpen it. So most of the time what I share are like that, and there is so much of reduction or improvement in the noise.
It's impressive what you're able to get out of that. It's interesting too, seeing how, you've been very generous with your sharing your images along the way, and seeing how much they've improved as you've gone further down the learning curve and stuff like that. The work that you're doing is very impressive.
And this is another image when I processed just a moment ago. These are the clouds. The clouds movement of the clouds.
Prasad, have you had the opportunity to work with the quark chromosphere, and how does that compare to this device?
No, I have not.
Okay.
The only quark I have used or tried using was the one in the DVAA rental, the Daystar. Is that a quark? I don't know.
Yeah, the quark chromosphere is like an eyepiece, and it needs power to heat up, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
provides HA to the
No, our club has a rental scope, Daystar. I think it's a 60 millimeter scope.
Okay, yeah, this isn't a scope. It's a
Oh, it's not a
essentially
no, that has got
essentially a
that,
filter. Yeah.
but no, that scope has got that Daystar module,
Okay. All right.
and it needs that 5-volt USB plugged in, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to wait for 10 minutes at least.
Yep.
And then when I touch the knob, I have to wait for another 10 minutes.
Gotcha.
Never ending. So it was so frustrating, so I gave up. I didn't try.
Charlie, are you talking like the Daystar used to have the hydrogen alpha etalons that they had built-in heater for temperature stabilization? Is that similar to what you're referring to with this other company?
No, it's the same company.
Oh,
Same
same
company,
okay.
same company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of good results with imaging the sun with the Daystar quark. So, but this is awesome.
Yeah, the best thing with this is no extra investment needed for switching from one spectra to another spectra.
Yeah.
Well, that was why I asked if you had any experience with the other thing, because I mean,
No.
it's for as much money and time that you have into this device, the other device is like $1,200, brand new. You can find them on cloudy nights for a lot cheaper, and I didn't know what the comparison
No,
was, if it
I have
was
not tried.
okay, comparable.
Wow.
Mine has been only with the I still have my Lunt, and I have this 2 spectroheliographs. And this I didn't put it. Oh, this one. These images are something new. Not just new to me, new to the community. Valerie released that the newer version of INT software, and with that she released, and there was some difficulty in understanding her French to English, Franglish. Yep. But then it took some time. I managed it. In fact, I have written my own little 4 or 5 page long version of how to do these, how to create these images.
Is the image on the right? That's from the Daystar filter?
The right, this one?
Yeah.
No, this is from using my spectroheliograph. Both.
Oh, both of them are. I see.
Yeah, both of them are on different days.
Oh, interesting.
This is the first ever one when I tried helium D3. This is the first one. And now after that, I have been able to produce a lot more, and they all come out good.
Yeah, they're noticeably sharper. Are those lines on the one on the left? Are they from turbulence or clouds?
No, they are the transverse helium.
question.
Yeah,
When
go
you-
ahead.
When you get a chance, the first Hales machine had two slits connected and synchronized. You don't have to do
Yes.
this because you're tracking at a higher rate, correct?
Possibly, yes, because we are able to do that with we have better mounts. I don't know if it was possible to drive. Look at this this mount. It must be really massive. And imagine trying to drive it at 8x or 8 times the speed. I don't know if that was even possible at that time.
Huh.
And I don't know. But that was the technology in 1900.
Yeah, I think back in those days, they just let the sun drift across the slit, I believe.
Yes. No. Sun, no, from what I have read about this,
It was
the
driven.
it was no, it the sun, the scope was tracking the sun
Okay.
at solar speed. And the entire sun was here, and
Mhm.
the slit scanned the sun from one limb to the opposite limb.
Okay. And similarly on the plate.
Similarly, the second slit followed the same first slit.
It's like a focal plane shutter over the film, correct?
Must be, yeah.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, I think so.
And I believe these, you see, this little here, one little lever here, and a lever here, and something connecting
Yeah,
here.
there's a connecting rod there.
Yeah,
And that little bend in the connecting rod might be how they were adjusting the distance.
must be, yes.
Just take a little wrench on it, and
Yeah.
they needed another millimeter over, right?
Yeah.
Prasad, is there another like focal length scope you've used, or is there like an ideal focal length that you need? Have you tried anything else like
Uh,
to deviate from you're currently using?
About f7 is roughly the recommended focal ratio. But then when you go for a bigger focal length, what happens is the image of the sun on the slit becomes bigger, and then you are no longer able to get this. The slit is not wide enough or long enough for the sun.
Okay.
So that creates a different problem. In fact, I am playing with it now, right now, trying to use a Barlow lens and trying to capture only a portion of the sun.
Okay.
And so far, I have not been very successful.
Yeah.
But I have a friend. Again, I mentioned his name, John Paladin. He lives somewhere in New York State. He just few days back he sent me some image which he said he did that. So yeah, so far I have not succeeded.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know when I introduced a Barlow into my image train, I failed, and I
Yeah.
still haven't been able to figure it out. So I was
No,
just
here
curious.
the problem I'm getting here is because of the speed. I don't know what speed I should really, the FPS.
Okay.
And the software that I use, the software, whichever software I use, that gets confused. So it either stretches the image too much or compresses it too much. So in the end, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Because the software is designed to process the whole disk. That's where it goes wrong.
Well, things have certainly come a long way since the 1900s.
Oh
But
yeah,
what they were doing back then was quite impressive too. You gotta hand it to
Very,
people for like figuring it out in the first place, right?
Yeah.
very
yeah,
impressive.
yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
it's amazing. It's that goes back to that old saying, like standing on the shoulders of giants, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, they make it so easy for us today. I mean, and when you look at the whole, the whole picture, the whole scope of things, like you have software for everything. You press a button, it does this, it does that. Like the guys back in the 1900s, like these two, it was just amazing what they could accomplish. I feel like we cheat when we do astrophotography today.
mm, yeah, yeah.
It's
You know,
very
I was so impressed by this picture by George Hale in 1929. So much of detail in that at that time.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. Yeah.
This is what I got, but look at what I'm getting. I'm using such the modern, so far advanced technology.
Yeah, you're cheating.
Yeah, true, very true. And he did all this with this what do you call it? Chemical film.
Yeah, probably glass plates back then.
Yeah, those days, yes, glass plates.
Wow. Very impressive work. Really, really, really impressive. So and you said you started in 23 in terms of your
Yeah,
first one?
23. 23, I mean, I started reading about it in 23, and I think I got the kit probably in 24 May or June. And then I struggled making my 3D printing, but I should not have given up. Because I'm able to make better 3D prints than what of the same level, same quality as what I imported from France. I spent about $250 for that, and I can produce them for less than $10.
Wow. You have to use special plastics to deal with the heat or to deal with any of
No,
that,
no.
or is the heat basically blocked from the UVIR and then the quartz slit?
Yeah, that's right. Heat is blocked.
Okay.
The only heat is that goes focusing of sun directly on the slate.
Okay.
So other than that, there is no other. Yes, why sometimes yes, when I am spending 2 hours, 3 hours under the sun, the whole thing may get a little heated because it is dark black,
Yeah. Yeah.
and but that hasn't bothered me much. Some people use a shield, a white colored, a cardboard or whatever, a shield from the sun. But I have not kept them do that.
It's good. Yeah, it's always I remember even with the Herschel wedges, you always had to watch like you didn't burn a hole in your pants from from
Yeah.
the part that was reflected off coming out of the bottom of the Herschel wedge when you were doing that.
Yeah, yeah. That's the heat damage.
Yeah.
And this is the new slit, which is here. This is aluminum ring. This is the same size as the 1.25 size filter.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
got the same. In fact, Doug used that filter. He probably removed the filter element and threw it away and put assembled it here in this.
Yeah. So that's a regular 1.25" filter cell.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Do you know how they cut the slits in those? Do they laser cut them now or what?
Laser cut, laser
Laser
cut.
cut?
Yeah.
You look at the technology involved in making that and also the diffraction gratings, right? Like your 2400 line diffraction
Yeah.
grating. That's amazing technology unto itself, right?
Yes.
You have fused quartz, which is pretty impervious to heat damage, and you still have to cut a hole in it with something that gets hot enough to cut a hole in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Fantastic presentation. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yes.
That was really good. Thank you.
My
Very
pleasure.
interesting, Prasad.
I don't know if I should, when was it? Maybe a month or 2 months back when we talked about this, my presentation and this thing, someone wanted me to bring the spectroheliograph to the club meeting. And I don't know if it is of any use if I bring it on Friday, should I?
Yeah, I don't see why
Yeah,
not. I
yeah,
mean, a
why
lot of
not?
us
Yeah.
see there, and then other people may be interested. They could certainly then watch this video, watch the recording of this to learn
Okay.
more about it. I don't, if
Okay.
it's not a problem to bring it,
No, it's not a problem. I have to bring.
I would be interested just to get just to get a sense. I could see how big it is compared to the scope and the mount, but
Yeah.
seeing it in person is always better than a picture.
No, I will have to bring the scope, the mount, and the spectroheliograph. So I can do that. I'll do that.
Yeah, you're saying bring just the spectroheliograph or everything? 'Cause
No, bring the whole setup.
I guess, yeah, I don't want to put you out or,
No. It's not a problem.
Can you go to slide 25 again?
I'm sorry.
Slide 25. I just want to see a picture of this.
25. Yeah, this.
So is that like an ADC, or is that just a like what is that?
What's that? What? These are the two lenses.
they're the camera lenses.
Camera lenses.
Old Pentax
Old-fashioned camera
lenses.
lens.
I have
Like a
one of those.
telephoto.
Camera lenses, and the one came with its own little the front cover, and the second one, this is the one I made this. Because it came without the cover. In the beginning, when I was still collecting things, I had to store it somewhere. I wanted to make sure that dust would not go in or would not damage it. So I made a cover, and this is one of the early stages of my DIY project.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
The most difficult one, or the sensitive thing, is this grating. Actually, I think I accidentally touched the surface, but luckily it did not create a serious problem. It's still working.
What do you do to mitigate that? Do you just use gloves?
Nothing.
Like full gloves?
If I have touched and it has caused real serious damage, throw it out and get a new one.
Yeah. No, I mean handling it. Do you just make sure you use
I just don't
or-
touch it. Yeah, there's
Yeah, when you're
nothing.
installing it, you would go with those white cotton gloves like you had back in photography or lens handling,
Yeah, exactly.
real thin cotton gloves.
Yeah.
But still, you don't want to
no.
touch it. But if your hand does go across, it's not going to pick up the oils and stuff, at least.
Right. Yeah. And then clog the grate. Clog.
I was
the lines.
using this. I was using this surgical glove.
Oh, okay. Well, thank
But
you again.
okay. So I'll come there with everything and set it up for display on Friday.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you. Wonderful.
Very nice, Prasad.
Yeah.
Really, really great. You know, I wonder whether this might be good material for like an observing report before a meeting sometime. Um, I guess they're only 10 or 15 minutes long, but it might be, gee, it might be worthwhile. It might be a worthwhile occasion to maybe just show some of the images you took, you know. Probably can't get into the guts of the spectrohelioscope too much, but just showing those images, the images are really impressive.
I would think that would have a, a broad appeal with the club for one of the observing reports, because you're so used to
Yeah.
seeing hydrogen alpha, but other than
Right.
like the emails Prasad's been sending, you don't really get to see some of the other spectral lines, especially like
Yeah.
The helium is really wild.
the helium is
I
really
really
cool.
like the helium.
Yeah, Prasad, you brought the first version to one of the spring
Clinics.
Saturday clinics last
Yeah,
year,
winter clinic.
and it was really a hit. You know, everyone really was really enthusiastic about seeing that. You know,
I don't. Did I? I don't remember. I might have.
I think
Yeah,
that
there
you had
was a
brought the
yeah.
first version over,
Uh,
but yeah, you did everyone was crowding around that. You know. Yeah, that was really something. It might be worthwhile even to do that again this year, you know, if we do a lunar and planetary and solar little thing again. I don't know that we will, but
hey, there is something. There's something else I just got yesterday. I have a solar projector. Uh, where the solar image, roughly the size of a regular print paper, letter size. I know it's that width. It produces at a distance of maybe about 80 or 90 feet away from the projector.
oh,
Hmm.
how
Yeah,
about that?
look for Ed Jones. Ed Jones solar projector. That's
Yeah,
what
I've
I
seen
have.
his.
You seen
Yeah.
it? Oh, okay. I have that.
He does a lot of videos on YouTube.
Mm. I have his projector.
Do you? Oh, you
Just got it.
do?
Yeah, I have it. Just got it yesterday.
How about
And
that?
I tried it this morning and it worked great.
Hmm.
The best thing for outreach, solar outreach.
How about that? How
Optical
about that?
edge. I just looked it up.
Yeah, you can find it on Ed Jones. I don't know. It's got some slightly different name. The website.
I just put the link
Yes,
in the
optical
chat
aids.
window.
Optical aids. Yes.
And he says he sold out of projectors and he can't get the cells, but he does have the lenses. So for all you 3D printer people out there, you can get lenses. Do it yourself lens cell.
You need a mirror.
Is that what's behind it? The mirror?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And the projector I have, the mirror is motorized.
Like the old helioscopes for
No.
tracking. I mean, in the
Tracks the
old,
mirror. The projector does what it does is it uses that of lens with the focal length of something like 80, 90 feet focal length. So it's it's a singlet lens, single lens, and the mirror reflects the sunlight onto the lens, and the sunlight goes and falls on the screen that we hold far away at 80, 90 feet away.
Okay.
Hmm.
I think it does sound like the same principle. I think there was one at the Flower and Cook Observatory, right? Years ago, they had the mirror outside that was motorized,
Yes,
and then
yes,
then they would measure the spectra at a fixed location inside the building.
right. Yeah, they had a siderostat, I think.
No, that
Yeah.
that is probably spectrohelioscope.
Right, but the point I'm trying to make is that they didn't have a tracking mount, they just had a tracking mirror.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I think it was like
Sidereal.
a horizontal refractor, basically.
Yeah.
You know.
They use a
Yeah.
heliostat to
Yeah, they use the heliostat. Yeah.
keep it track.
Right.
Yeah, up at Stellafane now at the Solar Observatory, they have a heliostat outside that feeds into a spectrohelioscope, basically.
Yeah, they call it spectrohelioscope. Yes.
Yeah,
Right,
that's the
right.
video.
Yeah.
And they got the second slit and mechanically filter the spectral line they want.
Right.
Hale made that too.
Yeah.
Very
Deep
cool.
point.
Excellent. Well, it looks like we're getting close to the end of our time here. So, are there any more questions for Prasad or anything, or just in general? I think we'll hold off. Next month's meeting will be an ad hoc meeting, so we won't have a presentation. We can get back. It's been a while since we've had enough time to look at people's images and also question and answers related to those imaging, to the imaging that people are doing. So next month we'll do that, and then I think we'll hold off any like image stuff for this particular meeting. Are there any other questions for Prasad or any questions in general before we wrap things up?
I just have a general comment for you solar observers. This is a solar kind of a night. The sun right now has a very active spot. It's called 4274.
Yeah.
When it went around last October, when it formed, was 4246. It had 4 coronal mass ejections on the far side of the sun. It's coming around. It's had an X 1.6 flare yesterday. It's just starting to make the corner. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it on Friday night. But if you have a solar scope, it makes a really interesting target because things change very rapidly. The flare yesterday came and went in about 25 minutes and blew off quite a filament out in the space within like 20 minutes. It covered about a quarter of a solar radius. It was just blown off the side. It was really I was taking some videos and I was taking 30-second videos, and between videos, it was noticeably moved, the prominence. It was really the fastest thing I've ever seen go off the sun. But it's real active right now. So if you want to catch that spot, it just came on about 2 days ago. So it'll be crossing the next 10 days, and we'll probably got a decent chance of getting a nice aurora out of this, maybe. Because it's been
There have been
really active.
some reports of
Yeah, there have been some G1,
lookout.
G2s, but this guy, it's one of those, actually the one on October 21st, If we had one of those that was earthward, it would be probably at least as good as last October's aurora, and maybe better. So it's an unbelievable area. It's very twisted and contorted, real active.
Well, and what was the sunspot number again, Tom?
It's now it is called on this pass. It is
said
4274.
4274. Okay.
Yeah, you'll see it on if you go like space weather. It's in the eastern the upper left limb. It's about 10% on the disk.
Okay.
Look, coming around.
Yeah, so if it keeps, I mean, it survived the whole pass and had a lot of activity, so it's a good target for solar scopes. Anyway, just wanted to mention that because
That's
it's a clear
great.
day tomorrow and stuff.
Wear your sunglasses.
Yeah, you're right. Preferably your Hydrogen Alpha sunglasses.
Yeah. Yeah, with some neutral density filter.
Yeah, right.
Okay, any questions? Anything else, announcements or anything? Okay. Well, again, thank you so much, Prasad, for the excellent presentation. It was
Yeah, it was really
very
good. Thank you.
informative,
Awesome.
really well done.
Yeah, and thanks, Gary and John, too,
Yeah, for setting it
putting
up.
this together. It was really great.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Bye.
Okay.
Hey, good night, everybody. Hope to see you
Good
All right,
Friday.
guys.
Good night. Take care.
Take care.
Have a good
care.
one.
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye now.
Thanks all.
Bye.
See ya.
Yeah.